Are you going to bet Cam Young at like 3-1 this week like you do every week?
Okay, I bet him live at 70-1.
How'd that go?
God damn it. And then he hit it in the water. But then he made par. It was like, he literally had this amazing par. It was like a hit in the water off the tee from like 180 out to like 7 feet, hits the putt. What a par. Professional par. What does he do on the next hole? On a par 3? 3 putts from like 34 feet.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now will get you a first-time deposit match of up to $100. Smash the like, sub to the channel, download the podcast. This is the Players Championship Recap, the Valspar Championship Picks, Bets, Preview, and One and Done. Jeff, I am running away with the One and Done after Scotty Scheffler won for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm Andy Dufresne, right? Like just chipping away. Chip, chip, chip.
Yeah,
not much you could do when Buddy hits the Players. I believe maybe the U.S. Open juiced the purse, but the Players the biggest.
I have $7 million in the One and Done now. You are in second place with $1.2 million. So, and Cuss has 600,000. So I've really established a gap here between us.
Like I said, just chipping away. Now I got to just chip away.
All right, well, let's talk about this Players' Championship because it was a ton of fun. If there's ever going to be a spot where the PGA needed to have a good tournament for TV with a close finish, with names that people recognize to get people all fired up, Sunday at the Players was it, man. It was, I'm going to harp on how Brian Harman should have won this tournament because he didn't birdie 12 and 16, the holes that everyone else birdied. And he didn't. And if he just birdies those, like the rest of the field, he wins. But, I had him at 75-1. It would have been nice. But Scotty coming back. Scotty he left one short on 15. And just even watching it in real time, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't hit it to 5 feet. Like that's the level that Scotty's on at the moment. And he's making putts again. So it's tough to beat him when he's doing that.
God mode. You had Harman. Xander was on my final card. Which thought that even keel game would work perfectly, and it kind of did. But in the end, Xander shoots 19 under at Sawgrass and still feels like he's a goddamn choker.
Well, when you have the nickname Gagatha Christie, then you're going to miss a 6-foot putt to tie the lead.
Oh, yes, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Incredible week from start to finish. Really, post Monahan press conference, they could do no wrong. Like home run after home run, every day was fantastic. But you said it, to come home like that with that drama, my dad jumped out of his chair. I hadn't seen him in a bit. He's not able to get away. He's not feeling that great. I haven't seen him scream that loud in forever since Wyndham Clark rollout. So that was encouraging, I guess, but just a totally great Sunday. Having a Xander ticket, it was such a mentally draining, stressful day from start to finish. But for the PGA Tour as a whole, Scheffler being amazing, is position A, as much as golf bettors, although I think the books actually took a beat. I don't think the books ever take a beating. I think they took an L with him winning. I truly think so. Maybe someone even like a Jeff Sherman already tweeted it, but I'm quite convinced that they did when he wins, the amount of pre-tournament action. But it's perfect. We like different things. We like stories. We don't like good players not winning for too long. We like a mix of good players winning, us, I think, in this gambling DFS space. But to the world, dynasties, dominance, that's the shit that plays. That's the shit that people want to tune in for. Either to cheer against it or to see it be as good as advertised. And holy shit, what was that? From the moment that ball was on 4 that jumped in the hole, it was God mode. And it's incredible.
Just to go back to Herman for a second, he missed a 6-foot putt on one. He missed a 4-foot
And
putt.
two.
He missed a 4-foot putt on two. And the funny thing was that he was stealing birdies on the holes that no one else. I mean, so you can't be that mad at it. But he didn't make a birdie until 8. But he birdies 8. He birdies that other par 3. He birdies the tough number 15, the par 4. He was getting birdies on those holes. But it was just the easy ones he left on. And I did feel pretty bad. I mean, obviously I felt bad for him. I wanted to win a bunch of money. But he did cash low lefty at minus 150. That was nice. The 75 to 1 would have been much nicer on that front if I had just played the each way and not just bet the outright. That would have been a nice time for an each way. You'll see my card this week has a few more each ways on it of guys from that range. But the amount of spin that he got off that shot out of the pine straw, it just stopped. It stopped his ball. It was. I mean, it's unpredictable when you hit out of the pine straw. This is what happens. But it just checked on him. He thought it was going to roll to the hole. It was tracking at the hole. Like that was going to go to 5 feet. Then he would have had the putt. I did think it was funny that Clark and Harmon both had the same putt that Kisner had to win the Players in 2014 with Kisner in it. And the amount of shit that they were giving Kisner for not winning that year was pretty hilarious.
To Clark. What a beast. Like every time he thought he was down, he fought back from even the bogey, the incredible bogey on Saturday on 17 to like shank it, not like hit it in the water, shank it in the water and then stick it and hit the putt. It's just such freaking nails. Like what a guy. What a guy. And I'm not here. I was certainly not an early Wyndham Clark is awesome stan like our friend Tim and other people. But holy shit, how good that guy is. What a great week. What a great tournament. What a great Sunday. They needed it. They got it. And I think they delivered in like so many ways, Pat. There were so many layers of good. In the past, they never would have given us that drop sequence on Thursday. Ever. They would have felt all these guys feel a need to be sheltered. We got to protect them. Things can be said in these situations. They never would have given that to us. Certainly not when we started doing this sort of thing, and certainly not 4 or 5 years ago. So to see them do that, to see Smash GC troll Justin Thomas, mwah, even that element of it, perfect. To see Benny Ann tell a guy to fuck off on the internet. I loved it. Every single part of it. I ate it up. Yum, 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 yum. The whole sequence of it. And then to get that sort of tournament weekend with that champion, bravo. Perfect. And can't wait for the fucking Masters, man. But I like, what's it going to be? Scott's going to train us? Like, if you know college basketball, give me a game. So I'll double them up. Because I don't know college basketball. But like now, like, let's double them up to 10 to 1. What else are you going to do? All my like great futures are dickless.
Well, let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. I mean, Scotty just
told me to pump the brakes last week on.
Sure. Well, you were never going to bet him anyway. So what the fuck is the difference?
I'm not blaming you for losing a bet. I'm just saying I'm not pumping them.
All right,
I'll
so
let the train run over me.
That's fine. If the guy wants to be 5 to 1 every single week, that's great. He won one tournament in 52 weeks. Now he's won 2 in a row, and he'll never lose again. I mean, has the guy ever won a tournament after April in his career?
No, you're right. Listen, I'm hyperbole me, like, but I'm just saying, I don't know. For the Master, like I'm not betting him to win the Masters. I don't have like that's not me, and rather just wheel of losers. But I don't know. I don't know how the guy battled through an injury. It felt like he was going to lollygag his way to 4th place or something, on 3rd place or something in the morning, like injury riddled 3rd place. Like that's what he does when he's injured. Scotty's still incredible. No, he just activated.
I thought, what do you do with Xander, man? Like, poor guy. Maybe he'll come out and win the Valspar this week. Who knows? I'm shocked he's actually still playing in this field. Maybe he feels the need to get back out there right away and go for it. But it's worse because everyone wasn't watching the 17 feed all day like I was. I was cleaning up. I mean, shout out to Kenny Kim, who won like $6,500 on a 3-banger that he gave out publicly on Underdog. Code Mayo at Underdog, by the way. Tail Kenny, he's up like 10 grand on Underdog over the course of the past 2 weeks. But I actually found a little bit of a hack. It was nice. It was risky because it didn't pay very much, but I basically just put the over on everyone's strokes on hole 17 of 2.5 and just cobbled 5 together for as much money they would let me. And it worked until Fitzpatrick made his putt. And then the only one that I had Fitzpatrick in, I had Clark in too. And those are the only two who made a birdie. There was like a swing of like 45 guys in a row who didn't make a birdie on 17. And a lot of it had to do with that putt that Xander missed. Like everyone was missing that putt all day. Everyone was missing the Clark putt all day who put it close too. I remember Mark Hubbard in the morning missed that. And I was like, oh shit. Like everyone's just going to miss this. It looks like they're reading it wrong. And Clark was the one who just stepped up and made it. He's going to be dangerous in some of these. What do you feel about Wyndham Clark for the Masters? Do we like him at the Masters or no?
Maybe. Phillip Rivers still has him at 50 for Valhalla. So in terms of like available numbers to course, that's probably my favorite thing that you could still, if you want to invest in something, Wyndham. I'm back in Siberia, Pat. Oh shit, not Siberia, just Ontario, but I can't play Underdog in either.
Well, you maxed out. How many did you get into the $10 albatross for the major season drafts? We're going to start doing those on the show more and more throughout the course of the week. If people want to jump in, I'll do some live streams for that. But you got like hooked on best ball major season drafts.
Got hooked. I'll tell you this. I got a lot of Scheffler. Like in the PME, 4 of my 6, it was max 6. 4 of them I got Scheffler. So I kept rolling into Scotty a lot, and his beginner's luck, I don't know, but yeah, I was just pumping the $10 albatross also after I got maxed entered into yours, so that was fun. And I'm certain I will, as I told you, like I thought I might start doing some football, but I was just too into this golf mode. We're at the start of Masters season, major season. Once we get like into close to football, if I haven't already gone away and done something, I will, like closer to the season, I will literally drive to Buffalo and just spend a whole afternoon eating fast food, going to Trader Joe's, Target, dumping Underdog football drafts. Like I'll make a whole day of it. I mean it. Even if I'm by myself, I will do it. And I'm looking forward to it in my head too. Like, that'll be a great day.
Yeah, so code Mayo at Underdog. There's going to be a Pat Mayo experience open for the Valspar Championship on Underdog. It'll be draft. Again, it'll be for round 1. Right now, they told me that it's going to be $5 with $5,000 guaranteed in it. I'm trying to get that up to like $10 or $15. You know, we can win some real money here. But it's going to be Thursday only. We're going to do some drafts. We'll do a draft on the Wednesday show with Tambo now that he's back in studio. So, you know, it's important to get those drafts filled up. And we need to make it bigger. We need to prove to Underdog that we can fill these contests, and then we're going to start getting some real contests, and hopefully the season-long pick'em pool, which I've been pitching to them, which is going to be a whole lot of fun if people can get into it. So just check back when the tee times are released or whenever that pops up on Underdog. It'll be under the Valspar tournament on Underdog Fantasy, under the drafts, 6-person draft. I think it's going to be a 6-person draft with 6 players that you pick on your team, and I think it's going to be a 10 max entry, so we can get in the streets, so you can draft along with me, head to head, and we can have some fun times over on Underdog, code Mayo. The giveaway winners, I don't have the names actually in front of me, but they were credited this morning. I'm trying to get the names right now, so hopefully I can have them by the end of the show. If not, I'll tweet them out on Monday afternoon after this show comes out. A few other housekeeping notes here, and before we continue talking about the players. The Custies live debate is this Thursday at 8 p.m. Yes, I'm aware it's going head-to-head with the NCAA tournament. I did a show on the NCAA tournament. I'm not oblivious that this is going on. This is just when we want to do it. So this Thursday, live on Mayo Media Network. We still need questions from you. If you hit the description right now, there is a link. It'll take you to a spot where you can film a 20-second video, or you can ask a question to Tim and Geoff, and if it's good enough, it will go live, and we will play it for Tim and Geoff for the first time during the debate. There's already some pretty good ones that are out there, so if you've ever wanted to ask Geoff or Tim something for the most insane debate, now is the time to do that. And check out the Bracket Pick Show I did with Morency and Raza on Sunday evening. That's out now. It's up on the pod feed. It's up on the channel. Everything like that. But I would highly recommend. It was a very fun show. You know, Morency's been prepping for the tournament for like 6 months now. He just has facts for days on this, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, he gives the absolute best.
Samford is who you want to bet in the first round.
Okay. Noted.
Gabe and Ben were both on them. And Ben enjoys himself his one upset in the first round that we all get on and it wins, just like Fordham. No, not Fordham. Fulham. No, not Fulham. Forget who it was last year. Fordham? No, it's not Fordham.
Fairfield?
No, it wasn't Fairfield. It had the same name as the guy from the OJ trial, the cop. Mark Ford. No.
Furman.
No.
Furman. Mark Furman.
Yeah, Furman. Furman College last year. And they got the upset in the first round. It was awesome. Now, that was Roz's team. So now it's Samford this year who we're riding with. Them and New Mexico is the other upset that we're looking at for the first round. If you want to, juice up Sam Burns or something like that this week. Use LeagueSafe, by the way. If you're doing like a pool at your work or at your home or whatever it might be and you want to collect funds for it, I just recommend LeagueSafe. They're not going to screw you on fees. Your money is safe with LeagueSafe. I mean, it's in the name. It's LeagueSafe. But it's something that I've been using for ages. So I would highly recommend that if you want to go do it. If you use code Mayo, maybe that works. I don't know. And get some money off or something or get an extra $10 in the pool. But LeagueSafe if you're going to store all the money. Switching back to the players, you were in Florida for a lot of this, right? You weren't actually at home?
Yes. I was in Florida for the first 2 rounds, and I flew home on Saturday, and Air Canada had live TV, and it wasn't on, and on RDS, so in French, I got to see the players. I got to watch Xander's great Saturday on a flight. It blew by. It's the shortest flight ever. Watching Xander play incredible on Saturday.
I remember I had a wedding last year during football season. I flew home on Sunday, and the live TV on the plane was great. The Wi-Fi on the plane was great, too. I had my iPad, my phone, and the live TV, and I was able to stream like 4 football games at once on the plane. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's not like preferred,
no.
But in a weird way, it actually makes an annoying, boring process like go by way more enjoyable.
I would tend to agree. So maybe we can try to bet and stream something when we're all on a flight to Vegas. If you ever wanted to meet me and Jeff or come to a taping of the show, we're going to do a live watch along at the Masters. Jeff and I are going to be at the Circa Sportsbook, where we're going to be at the Stadium Swim during the Masters from the Wednesday to the Monday. So if you're in the Vegas area over Masters weekend, come hang with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so excited for this, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up. It's soon. Got all my ducks are in a row. It's good times.
So what else from the players do you want to... I'm done groveling about Brian Harman not winning. But if Hideki could have just putted throughout the course of the week, it's like he could have won too.
I mean, would Hideki be on your list of 5, like odds, forgetting odds, like the list of like 3 to 5 guys who could actually maybe beat Scheffler at the Masters?
Yes. I think that he has to be considered right now. What is he, 28-1? I feel like we missed all the good numbers on Hideki. They keep getting crunched, but maybe they end up going back up because Scheffler's down to like 5-1 or something like that. But they won't do that until the week of. Like right now, what am I seeing for Hideki? 28-1? I mean, I would like
you can't bet
35.
anyone. Sorry. You can't bet anyone to win the Masters right now because all they've done is shrink Scheffler, but they haven't juiced up the guys related. The normal juice up that you'd probably get for all but like the 3 players playing really well that get early touted by, people who, whatever. So it's one-way traffic on Scheffler. No one else is getting bumped. You can't. Betting the Masters now would be the dumbest thing you could do. Unless you think Sam Burns or something is going to win this week and you want to bet him before he gets into the 20s or something. I don't know, but point taken. Back to the players. Not so much fascinating early in the week when Scheffler at his presser made the comment that got lots of engagement saying, if you want to blame anybody, blame them. They left. We're still here. Like we were all together. They left. That got a lot of engagement. What got slightly less engagement from a presser was from Rory. when for the first time, I swear to you, Rory said a lot. I like it. Sometimes I don't. I tell him he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. I will die on that hill. There's very few topics Rory hasn't spoken out of both sides of his mouth on. But he said something that I just had me drooling. I adored because it's right, and he finally nailed it, and hopefully they get it. The fact that the PGA Tour is a members association has actually been incredibly detrimental to them because it allows them, it just gives the players too much control. As Rory said, things should just be happening and we should just be told and convinced and sort of proven that this is the right way. Now, I'm saying that wrong, but like something like match play, the players don't like it. It's gone in essence. But it should just be there because it's important. Like if that makes any sense. But the fact that it's a members association, and I'm not saying like there's a lot of benefits to that for the players, but a lot of things that would be beneficial to them, they don't realize they have to be convinced of, they have to be talked into in a way that if a league saw things as beneficial, they would just do it and then show the players along the way why this is beneficial to them. And a lot of it is like the engagement and seeing things like we saw with that drop because the players want to be protected. In a lot of sports, players don't want to be mic'd up. They're afraid of saying things, but they don't have a choice because that's what's demanded of the leagues and the networks.
I couldn't believe that they actually leaned into like the social media team tweeted out the entire exchange. Like that was fast. I was watching that feed on Friday or was it Friday or was it? No, it was Thursday. I was just like, huh. Like, because I tweeted about it immediately, and like everyone like started watching it, and I was like, oh, they're probably gonna like scrub this from the internet, but they really leaned into it. Like, this is, I think that maybe I don't want to call it like the full swing effect, but they do see more engagement with this type of stuff. And there was another one that happened yesterday. Like I was watching the like featured holes feed, like along with the main feed, and like Scheffler was giving it to Nate Lashley about this drop on 12. I didn't have the sound on, but it looked like he was yelling at him about where to take this drop.
And that is incredible. And stuff that they never would have played into years ago, Pat, like Keith Mitchell.
Smashing his club. They kept showing it.
Yeah, smashing is like that's something they would have like because it's unbecoming of Keith, or they'd be like, oh, we have to protect Keith. And in the end, even your worst moments, I don't know how to put it. Like, yes, Patrick Reed could get haters, and if you're caught like doing something cheating, you get haters. But even your worst moments build your personality, and that is in some ways, even if it's bad, like worth it. If that makes any sense, like it just is. And it's taken golf a lot longer than other sports to realize that because the players of any league or pro sport had the control to make sure that stuff never, they were protected. I don't know if I said it right at all, but
no, I understand that the point you're trying to make here. Is Wyndham Clark becoming like the new villain of the tour? Like the drop that he took from that sprinkler head on the par 3, and he ended up dropping it into the area where he had just been walking for 2 minutes. Like, good on him. That's exactly what I would be trying to do too. And if it's within the rules of doing it, why not get away with it? But it was just like, oh yeah, you could see him like he's stamping his feet down. It's like, oh, I know where he's going to take this drop once he's done looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's at full. There have been a few questionable things. And in golf, like we rarely get any sort of meat on the bone with that with a player, let alone to get incidents happening in short order. Yeah, I mean, he's not Brooks Koepka.
He's like that is a bit. He's more Bryson than Brooks. He's like a mix between Brooks and Bryson.
Yeah, in some ways, but the way he just shows up in these premier events, it's like this evergreen thing. It's feeling at the moments. But you can't, you with one major, I don't know that anyone could be in the Brooks Koepka comp category like fairly. But yeah, he's a personality, and he's also got a great story too. So it's good. I don't know if he wants to be a true villain. We could use one and lean into it, but I don't think that's like really who he is. I could be wrong, but from a betting perspective, if you're going to like go to the edge and a little into all that gray area all the time, as bettors, that's something we always want to lean into.
Yeah.
Let alone to have that sort of an element of what feels like a Koepka killer instinct, because he's got it. Like whatever that is, he's got it. Like, what do you call it? When we've quarterbacks in the draft, like he's got like these Mahomesian skills. He's got these like Koepkian elements. He's not Koepka, but he's got these Koepkian elements. It truly does.
I'll tell you what it is with him, and like why, whatever he's been able to do to harness his game and elevate himself at these bigger tournaments. And obviously the tournament's been playing a little bit easier, so maybe that is helping him. He wins the U.S. Open, and people complain that LA Country Club was a bit too easy. He wins at Pebble Beach. He almost shoots a 59 at Pebble Beach. Plays really well at Bay Hill, comes in second. Wells Fargo. That's generally a difficult course at Quail Hollow. He plays really well there. I think the Brooks comp comes in just the style of game that he has. Like, when he is in the shit on these holes, you're like, he's going to get it up and down. He's going to hit it to 7 feet, and then he's going to make the 7-footer. That's really the Brooks game. Like, Brooks will go on these unconscious streaks in majors. It usually happens at the PGA Championship when he does it, where he's like 5 under through 7 holes. He just hits everything to 13 feet and makes every single putt. It usually happens on a Thursday. And then the rest of the week, just every time he gets into trouble, it turns out he's not in trouble whatsoever. And I vividly remember when we thought that Tommy was going to storm back and beat him. I think it was at Shinnecock Hills. Yes. And he was just in the absolute shit on one of these par threes. And I was like, oh, he's going to take like a triple bogey here. What does Brooks do? He has the sensible play. He gets it out. He makes good contact, puts it to 19 feet for par, just walks it in. And Wyndham Clark has that in him right now.
Yeah, and even to Brooks and Wyndham, again, it's almost unfair. But when your bogeys are amazing, like that's also like a cool. You're, like 98% of the tours making double. You're able to make like the sickest bogeys, incredible bogeys, like full marks. Brooks does that. Brooks, does that too, but we'll see. Like, can he follow up the major year? I mentioned the Valhalla 50s. It would be very unlike the Brooks comp would only go further if he now wins like the Brooks majors, the majors that Brooks wins. So we will see, but you can't. You're still, when you have one major, it's almost unfair to compare you to Brooks Koepka. Like in any, like, right? Because you're just the same as Mike Weir and Jason Duffner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm just trying to think of like style of game that Clark possesses a lot of what Brooks has in terms of overall tee to green. And we think about him having to step up and really grind. It seems like when the pressure gets ramped up, Wyndham Clark doesn't fold. And that was always and it's not like Brooks didn't go through like a 5-year stretch where he was in these tournaments. Like it sticks out to me when Morikawa won the PGA Championship. Like Brooks was right there. Brooks shot like a 74 or something on Sunday.
Brooks talk shit.
Like it's not every time that Brooks just gets it done. It's just he puts himself into the position and gets it done enough that you're like, oh man, this guy is absolutely clutch. And that's how he has 5 majors. That's how you do it. Just put yourself in position over time, enough times you're going to eventually win. And that's what Clark is doing right now. He's just and listen, he just came back-to-back second place finishes because Scheffler went nuts on him twice in a row. If he continues to put himself into these positions, he's gonna get one of these.
Yeah, of course. And just you mentioned San Francisco Morikawa. My Brooks memory from that is he like talked shit about, kind of called out like on Saturday night or something. He made a comment like these guys don't have what I have. And whether that was true is like the full mark. He was talking about DJ, and I'm sure all the guys who never won shit behind him or with him on the board. And he didn't have a good weekend there, but Brooks is the man. Yeah, I don't know. If he's 20-1 to win the Masters, like seems more than fair. I don't even know if he is. He probably isn't anymore. But on the Scheffler resets, he probably will be. But he'll probably win at the Doral or something in a week or two.
That's this week.
No, really?
Yeah.
I don't think it is, Pat.
I thought that it was. I saw odds out for Liv. Maybe maybe they're future odds for Liv. Because I wanted to bet DJ.
Shucks, I don't know. I didn't see Liv.
Oh no, I was wrong. Trump Doral is April 5th to 7th, but they do have.
Yeah, I thought it was like right before the Masters.
So Liv isn't playing at all until then.
Correct, because they played back to back, like on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Trainer just went from Puerto Rico to the Asian tour, and I believe he's in the field this week at Valspar. Guys have access to airplanes. Not fooling on that one. Oh, the live guy. Shane Lowry and Matthew Pavon are both playing in Singapore this week, I think.
Yeah, they are. From Florida to Singapore is not close.
I didn't hear much, like, because this was a Cust got all like hot and bothered in our text thread yesterday, because everyone ended up, they were names at the very top. They were Cuss guys too, like Wyndham Clark and Brian Harmon were both up there. So Cuss was very invested of what happened at the Players Championship. And on the other side of the world, John Catlin ended up beating like 20 live guys in an Asian Tour event. So
I like where they could be right now. Like they're meeting today, Pat, with Yasser in Nassau. Guess that's where Tiger took the boat to. I feel like the PGA is still gonna want like some bending of the knee. Like Tiger's gonna want these guys to bend the knee to him. I have no doubts about that. They probably feel a little more swagger since the equity deal. I'm not confident. I'm not confident it's gonna happen quickly. The fact that they already canceled live players from being able to be in the President's Cup, it feels like, makes me feel like we're a long way away from something like tangibly close.
Jeff, we need those guys. We need them.
Oh, you don't want Nick Taylor having to like?
No, Nick Taylor's going to be on the team either way. Like he's actually played well enough to be on the team.
Yeah, it's not a good. Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's like when Adam Hadwin makes the team. It's like yee. Like Connors and Taylor deserve to. I mean, a Canadian was going to be on a team in Canada anyway, but I think that Taylor and Connors will both be on it regardless. Even if the live guys come back, they might be the 9th and 11th men, but they'll be on there.
Yeah, I know, but now it just means like you're gonna need. They'll give a feisty. They've given feisty efforts, but it's not a true. That is a true exhibition in some ways. But we're gonna have fun and. We're going to be banging out the Underdog games, playing the matchups. That's going to be a hoot.
I'm trying to see if Underdog can get a partnership with the PGA Tour before then, and they can set us up live at one of the holes for a stream, and we can we can be the coverage for one of the holes in Montreal. We're going to be there regardless. If you do want to come to President's Cup, just like we're going to go to Vegas, like shout out This is why you guys need to support Underdog, by the way, and use code Mayo. So the more you can play on Underdog, sign up to Underdog, play in the Pat Mayo Experience Open, the more we get the opportunity to go do this stuff where we can interact with fans, do some cool giveaways, but be on location for stuff that we really want to go to. So I'm pretty jazzed up about that, but like, I don't love this team. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. Like they should probably be plus 400 in the betting market, I would guess. That's where I would cap them right now with the team that they have in store against the Americans.
Yeah. Anything you want. Like if you want to do a little kitchen, well, there's no such thing as a little kitchen reno these days. Everything's a fortune. But if you needed like a new appliance or something, you just pay the tax on whatever it is. It'd be impossible. There's just no chance in hell. And I don't know. In the years past, I feel like at Quail Hall, there was some short, they had odds out like early in the summer that were short, and I vouched for it all summer, and that was a big brown bag. But because we're going to this, I'm not going to want to play in those waters, I don't think. But I don't think the number will ever really be that short. I think there is one book where I have seen it. It's a Canadian book.
Yeah, probably because it's in Canada. That would make a lot of sense.
But they also like have really small limits. You can find it in a moment, but yeah, I don't know. I've got nothing else on the players.
Yeah, I was just trying to see, like, it's really 4 guys, unless I'm really missing someone egregious here, from Live that just, it shakes up because just to look at the President's Cup standings right now on the international side, like, 12, 11, 10, and 9 are Hadwin, Connors, Fox, and Siwoo, Benan, Griot. Like, the guys who are up top, like Hideki, Tom Kim, Jason Day, Nick Taylor, Min Woo, Sung Jae, like, those 6 are great. And then like, instead of having just the Ryan Foxes, unless he starts playing great, or Adam Hadwin, or hell, even Scott or Cam Davis or Bez at this point. You could have Neiman, Louis, Cam Smith, and Answer. Just put those 4 guys on the team, and you're doing a whole lot better just off the hop.
Okay, so there's a book, like it's minus 250
USA.
but their limits are so small, because I remember at the last President's Cup they had a short number and they only let me like win like $150.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a chore. Yeah, but I don't know, they advertise a lot during hockey games.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not worth
but
playing at. I mean,
it's not even worth.
I don't want to
tie.
I don't want to tie up $600 to win 200 in April when that comes in September.
Yeah, there's no point. But that's crazy. That's it's actually a pretty, like, it's minus 250 USA, tie plus 1400, and internationals is only plus 250. So I
mean, I would say that's a good number for the American team as it stands. I do have a hot take that I do think that the Live guys will play in the President's Cup.
Yeah, maybe that's a leverage thing, because there are a lot, as you mentioned, there are a lot of guys over there who that could be important to. I'm not talking about Brooks or DJ. Like, I think they care about the Ryder Cup, but the internationals would probably love to come back to be able to play that.
Yeah, well, it's the only chance that they get to do it. Even guys like Ortiz and Burmeister, like, they could theoretically be on this team if they were playing well, outside of like the quote unquote lock players that you would have, and it would just make it more competitive. Like, it's a PGA product, I get that, but what's better? Like, having it seems like you're canoodling with Live anyway. If you go run this event as it is, like, it's a non-competitive event. Like, that's one of the reasons that the Players was so much better this year. Like, Scheffler won last year, but Scheffler won by 5. There was absolutely no drama in the Players Championship last year. It was kind of unwatchable on the back nine, whereas this year it was super competitive. Scheffler still wins anyway, and it's just way more watchable. Like, even Paul said his group chat was blowing up. A bunch of people that, like, I never talked to were talking to me about the Players yesterday. Like, people sat down, they watched it, and they were entertained by it.
That's a great point. Like, in my group chat, guys that are never the ones talking about golf were like the first ones to, like, holy shit, with the lip out. Like, how did that not go in? So yeah, it really was captivating yesterday, leading into the bracket drop. It was again, I don't know, full kudos. People may say I don't kick the PGA hard enough. I like to think I kick them in the nuts pretty good most of the time. That was as good as it could have worked out for them, other than maybe Rory being part of it also. Like, but who cares?
Rory almost broke. I think Sam Ryder broke the Players Championship record for birdies in a tournament. I think Rory tied him when all was said and done. I've never seen a guy hit the ball in the water that many times and still, like, be inside the top 20.
Yeah, Rory's, I don't know, maybe his struggles are overblown.
Well, the thing that cost him this week was the one thing that was not a problem for him all year. Like, his driving, he was he was like top 5 in distance, but he was top 20 in accuracy coming into the week. And it was the driver that actually let him down. And ditto with Brian Harman. The driver let him down on 12 when he came up short and ended up in the bunker. And then it fucked him on 16 as well when he put it just a bit too far left and ended up in the pine straw and couldn't get to that green in 2. So driving ends up becoming a major part, especially on the scoring holes at Sawgrass. That's one thing to, like, really click in the back of your mind, where you can see some of these guys, like Harman isn't as accurate as I think that people think that he is. Like, it's not like he's Siwoo out there. Like, Siwoo's just hitting every single fairway. And apparently Scheffler also hits every single fairway, which is just sort of like the cheat code for him. The distance control on the irons and the fact that he bombs it down the middle every single time and never really presents himself with that much trouble. But if you don't have the distance to take advantage of those par 5s, it's really hard to get low enough and take advantage of the easier holes at that course. And that's really what did Harman in.
He played so well. It was that one round. Like, I can't stand him. I'm not going to lie. Can't stand the guy. He's just chipping away. You guys are up there. He wouldn't go. He thought he'd take a step back. Like, no, he can, at times, he just seems so lethal. So he scared the shit out of me.
He should. Because, well, he's a lot like Clark in a weird way, that when he steps up to those 13-foot putts, like, you kind of expect him to make it. And there's only so many guys that it applies for. Like, you you rarely ever expect Scheffler to make it. And when he starts making them, you're like, oh God, like it's over for everyone. Wait, like the moment that he missed that like 4-foot putt on, I think it was 14, the par 3, it's like, okay, everyone here, someone can go and win this if they have the guts to go do it. And then, Xander shit all over his leg coming down the stretch. Clark did too, and then he tried to get it back, and Harman just ended up coming a little bit short on some of those putts, and that was the end of it. Like, Scheffler gave them the opportunity. This wasn't A+ Scheffler. This was like B+ Scheffler. The door was open for these guys to go win it from him, and they just couldn't take it. I mean, it's tough to do down the stretch when the Players' Championship's on the line, there's water everywhere, and you need to be nails. It wasn't until Clark was like kind of out of it that he got himself back into it in a weird way.
I agree with sort of everything you just put out there. Having a mix of radio and TV yesterday, they said it often. You don't backdoor into a Players' Championship. You have to take it. And Scheffler certainly didn't backdoor into it, but the other guys, all three of them had chances, could think of multiple points, even throughout the weekend, to, where they all had their chances. That shot was everywhere, let alone Wyndham's ball being halfway down the cup. Those strokes were all over the place for all three of those guys. But I don't.
Do you think
I didn't know Xander got rid of his dad as his coach, and he hired Chris Cuomo, not the newscaster. And he's been playing great. So I don't know. He's just got to keep. Wouldn't shock me at all. I guess we'll get there now. Like if he just dummies this field, but can't fuck that guy right now.
I thought the coverage was really good this week. And I think it's funny, and I include myself into this too, as someone who really hated Sawgrass for the longest time. It's like, oh, this is a stupid made-for-TV course. And it is, but it's produced some really good tournaments. Like, this is usually the tournament you can point to every year. Like, we've had some bad Masters over the past, 8 years or so, that the Players rarely gives you a dud. It's usually competitive. There's swings on the leaderboard. Well, it is made for TV. The sequencing of holes is really good on the back nine because, you can make double or birdie at any one of these holes. That it is sort of like the perfect made for TV product right now. And with the limited interruptions because of the sponsor and everything like that they sold the rights to, I actually really enjoyed the last 2 hours of coverage. It was good for once.
I was enthralled. I had a guy with the lead, had a bet. I assume, as did you, to Paul's point, even if betting wasn't your vibe for this thing, it was enthralling. So, captivate. They did it.
What do you make of Kisner on the broadcast? Do you like him or Luke Donald better? I think I like Luke Donald better.
I like Luke Donald better. I'm a sucker for the accent, though. There's a lot of, I don't want to say it's a more serious broadcast because people don't seem to that's. I'm into Luke more, but Kiz has been great. If we end up with Kiz being a full-time guy or something, that's something I could grow. I could turn 55 with. That wouldn't bother me. But I'm standing that Luke would be my preferred choice.
See, I think for NBC it makes more sense to have Kiz as the guy. Only because, what is Kiz, 40? You can really have him for 25 years if it works out for him. I mean, Luke Donald's only 46. But there was something, the one thing I don't like about the Kisner stuff, and they're really trying to lean into it, was when they had him and Kaufman stationed out at 17. I don't mind that part. It was the same as 16 in Phoenix. It's fun. Make that its own feed. The normal coverage shouldn't have you talking to fucking Keith Mitchell for 8 minutes when there's shots going on. Just get rid of that.
Okay, so I could see how that totally bothers us and the people who are see golf like we see golf. That's just total nonsense. And I could see why there's people in the network side, some old heads who have a hard on for this thing. I'm with you. It should just be its own feed. If something great happens, go over to it. If a good player is over there, then the main feed can pick up that feed. That's fine. But a little too much. I did like that they were making fun of Smiley this week, and one of the players, I don't even remember who it was, might have even been Mitchell, but he joked at Smiley's where would you even be on this thing if it wasn't for all of Kisner's friends coming by? But Smiley's got his own friends, but that made me laugh.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and they realized it was a good idea, but they pulled a cuss that You don't need to see it 98% of the time. Like you said, cutting back to it when something good happens, or there's a good clip, or cut into them for 30 seconds every 5 minutes or something like that. But don't do the inverse where it's 5 minutes with them and 30 seconds at the course with all the other players. Like they're only so entertaining.
It's a good idea, but it's not as good of an idea as they seem to think it is.
Well, it's the first good idea that they've had in ages. They want to beat it into the ground, and then it makes it that no one likes it anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, credit, I'm sure, but I almost guarantee you that was Smiley, like at a meeting, being like, how about this? Like, and like, right? Because, you know, these things are hard to finally be executed. And yeah, it seemed like it makes total sense. Go to the, let's see, the like postage stamp hole of the golf course and do your shtick on the Friday afternoon. Good idea.
Yeah. It's just we don't need to see it on the main coverage. Like have that as a dedicated feed and cut back in, I think is the better solution. And I have no qualms with Smiley, trying to get himself into this. It's exactly what I would be doing if I was in one of those meetings. Like, it'd be better for the coverage. More me.
No, I don't even blame. Yeah, I don't even say that as a knock on Smiley. I actually give him credit. It's probably his idea. Like, I got these friends, like happy hour Friday. Like, let's. Yeah, it's easy. It's low hanging fruit, and it works. But it's not as good of an idea as they seem to want it to be. But let's put it this way, Pat. There are very few places in golf that are also 16 at Phoenix and 17 at Sawgrass.
Sure, but making one hole really important, I do think, and it's usually a par 3, like you could do that this week at Valspar with number 17 if you really wanted to. That, like, we're aware of 16 in Phoenix. That's a big hole. 17 at Sawgrass. Obviously, they're never going to do it at Augusta. But I do think that those holes give those courses identities in a weird way that some of the other courses don't have. Now, maybe it's one of these things where if you beat it into the ground and do it at every course, then those ones lose its luster a little bit. But I do think that emphasizing a really cool hole at the course or a dramatic hole at the course should be something they do every week. Like, no one, like, the snake pit is awesome at Copperhead. No one ever talks about it. It's like the bear trap with bad PR.
Yeah, I guess. So, like, we're entering the snake pit, but sure.
Anyway, that would be where I was going. I did want to give a special shout out to Justin Thomas this week, who finished 13th in the field overall in approach and only played 2 rounds. The rest of his
skill.
The rest of his game wasn't so hot. As someone who had money on Justin Thomas, it was.
I had money on Will. The card can't be filled with guys who are competing for the win. We have to lose soldiers along the way.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the Valspar Championship, one of my favorite tournaments of the year. I have the research show out already if you want to look through it. 7,340 yards, par 71. There's 5 par 3s on this course. That always kind of gets overlooked when people are doing their research for this tournament. That just it's wonky in a weird way. Taylor Moore is the defending champion. You, sir, hit Taylor Moore. He staged an amazing comeback last year. This is the tournament where Adam Schenk put it up against the tree on the final hole, and then he almost made birdie. Almost made par to keep it even with Taylor Moore from long distance. Hit the hole, and it had a bit of pace to it. It wasn't going to go in. It had to hit perfectly in to drop, but he did hit it at the hole. Spieth was there until he put it into the water on 16. Then he missed the putt on 17 after putting it close. So Spieth has won this tournament before. He took Patrick Reed money from us back in the day. I want to say that was like 10 years ago. We saw Paul Casey go back-to-back at this course. We've seen Sam Burns go back-to-back to this course. It's a fun tee to green experience. I hope that they don't make it easy like they have for some of the other courses. This is one where I want to see the winning score be like -10 and make it a true grind for people.
Yeah, that would be nice. Hard course. So yeah, that Patrick Reed 3-putted 18, I think, to give Casey the win. One of those that really kicking the nuts. Yeah, this one I feel like's had the most different tournament names since we started doing a show together. It'd be a close race, but I think this one has had the most.
It is no longer the Transitions Championship.
Yeah, there was a few in between, though, also before. Valspar seems a staple in those caddy hats, which we see all year long. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's make it hard let's end Florida with a bang. I should just by basic math and what day it is know this, but how many more till the Masters?
There's this week, and then there's 2 Texas tournaments, and then it is the Masters.
I saw Homa just committed to the one which I think is right before the Masters.
There's a lot of people playing in that one. If you go to Fantasy National right now, we do have a new tab at the top called the Season Long Planner. So you can see commitments to tournaments that are official as of right now. So like to look at Valero, that's the Corey Connors Open. FantasyNational.com/Mayo, by the way. If you get the monthly right now, it takes you through the heritage. So you'll get the Masters and everything, and you'll get front access to the app. We finally got it approved in the Apple Store late on Sunday. People started using it, Jeff.
I saw that. Lovely. I love that leaderboard.
Oh, it's amazing. That's how everyone's going. Everyone is going to eventually use this app to track golf. It is fantastic. We're testing it out right now. You need to be a member at Fantasy National to get on the list. I think we should be able to be approved for more people to test out in the coming weeks. We do have ShotLink for every tournament outside of the Masters. You'll want to use the Masters app for the Masters. That's like the best app in the world. This one for your day-to-day is way better than the PGA Tour. You can see multiple people on the screen and what they're doing in real time. Like, why wouldn't you want to use that? But it's only for Apple right now as a part of the beta test. So please go help us out. Become a member at FantasyNational.com/Mayo at the end to get yourself the 20% off. So just looking at Valero, you got Oberg is playing for sure. Who else is that? Stuart Sink is committed to that tournament. Corey Connors, the defending champion, is obviously playing. Luke Donald is committed. Fitz and Fleetwood, Fowler and Fox have all committed to playing. Glover, Rory, I guess you said Max Homa now as well. Harmon is going to play. Henley is going to play. Hoffman, Nikolai Højgaard is playing. Horschel with Homa are both playing. Ben Ann is in that field. Martin Laird is playing. Bobby Mack is trying to get in. Rory, as I mentioned. Morikawa, Grayson Murray, Thorbjorn Olesen, Thunderbear. Adam Scott is playing. He's won that tournament before. JJ Spawn. I think JJ Spawn won that tournament before. EVR, Jimmy Walker. So it's a pretty good field right there. And that's like 30 commitments.
Yeah. Guys want to play the week before the majors.
I'll tell you, the Houston, the week before that one, the one in between this week and Valero, not such a strong field. Thigala is like the main guy he'll probably be like the favorite in that tournament.
Who won Houston last year?
It was in the swing season. I don't remember. Scheffler's actually playing in that one. He'll be playing next week in Houston. He'll be like 3-1.
Is Spieth playing?
Doesn't seem to be. Knapp is playing in that one. I don't see Spieth. Horschel's just playing every week. He's trying to get himself into the Masters. So Spieth is not committed to either of the Texas tournaments because he's playing this week. But maybe he'll end up showing up. He usually plays Byron Nelson because it's outside of Dallas.
And it's AT&T.
Yeah, and he'll probably play Colonial because that's in Fort Worth. So play the ones like near his home rather than the other two. Top of the odds board this week. We got shrunk down a little bit because of 2 WDs. Tom Kim and Patrick Cantlay were both supposed to be in this field, but they are niet in this field right now. So Xander is the betting favorite. He's 8-1. Burns and Thomas are both 12-1, along with Jordan Spieth. Finau's at 20, Sungjae's at 22, Cam Young's at 22, as is Brian Harmon. That's everyone below 30-1. You can get some better numbers on some of these guys, like Sungjae and Cam up to 27, Finau at 24, Harmon's at 24. He opened at 28. I was going to bet him at 28 at open, and then I was like, oh, I'll wait for a slightly better number, and it just crashed because everyone wanted to bet him. For me, Burns and Harmon would be the 2 plays. Like Finau, I've had my eye on for a while, like the ball striking. The driving wasn't as good at the Players, but his ball striking had been really good leading into that tournament. He actually putted pretty well. That's 2 weeks in a row, but this is the course that has the second most misses inside 5 feet of any tournament, with Riviera being number 1 and Pebble Beach being number 3. That, I don't know, if you need Tony to make some 5-foot putts, he's not making them anyway. And then if you like ratchet up the difficulty, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, I mean, does that in the past though? Would you not have said that's like an equalizer for the shitty putter? Like they're all going to miss 5-footers. So Cam Young and Tony...
but they're not all going to miss 5-footers. Just Tony is going to miss them all. Is the problem?
Yeah, yes. You're right. The guy who does win, we're going to have that stat because Brian Harmon had that stat for most of it, like didn't miss inside 10 feet. Then he couldn't hit anything on yesterday. So yeah, the winner is going to have that incredible putting stat from inside 10 feet. Scheffler's not here to just God mode them. It's hard to argue with Burns. He's playing so well. I don't know that I'm really going to get there on the betting board.
I'm not.
Part of me,
I'm straight up not getting to 12-1 on Sam Burns, but it's a good number for him at the tournament. He's won twice and finished T6 last year.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's like, do I have the willpower, the discipline to like complete the don't bet anyone under 50, 60 to 1 challenge? I don't even know if I have that discipline, but it's certainly not going to be anyone under 20 to 1 for me.
Harmon would be the one for me. I might go back to Harmon at 25. Like, just the approach play the last 2 weeks at Bay Hill and at the Players was out of this world. Like, he putted like shit at Bay Hill. Obviously, he putted a lot better at the Players Championship, but this is a course where Brian Harmon can play well. He plays well in difficult conditions. I wish he was better off the tee, but we know he's good around the greens. We know he can make some putts, and he comes in just firing on approach right now. Like, he's sticking everything. And just in the rolling model that I've done for both par threes and the key par three range between 200 and 225 yards, he actually ranks second in that number. So I like Brian Harmon a lot this week. I'm gonna I'm gonna bet Brian Harmon at 25-1. Fuck it.
It's easy to see. Like,
I was gonna bet like Keith Mitchell at 45 or someone else. Like, fuck that. I'll just take Brian Harmon.
It's easy to see why he's like a perfect course fit. No, this is where everyone would want to bet like Stenson at 12-1 every year, and he did shit here always, right?
Well, he had the shits that one year and had to withdraw.
Oh. Okay, maybe I did have that thought, but then I'm like, no, that might have been in Mexico.
Well, it was in Mexico, but I think it rolled over into this tournament because it used to go. Did it used to go in Mexico in this one? Maybe it was he WD'd to Mexico with the shits, and then he came to this tournament. Everyone bet him, and I think he WD'd again.
Either way, yeah, this is like the Gary Woodland like 3-wood classic who won here at 100-1 back in the day.
Yeah, we've had some longer shot winners at this tournament over the years as well.
The Streelman Eclipse.
Yeah, the Streelman just went bananas. Don't be counting your money until everything is done on 18, by the way, because 16, 17, and 18 is the most, I think it's the most difficult or second most difficult closing stretch on tour. It's that or the Green Mile at Quail Hollow is also incredibly difficult.
You're right to the long shots. I think Hadwin won here at 100-1. Taylor Moore was
hit that one
with 100.
That was fun. We hit that one.
Yeah.
Adam Hadwin.
So, yeah, there have been big numbers that get splattered in here quite often.
Yeah, and it's the year of the long shot, unless it's Scotty Scheffler. So Scheffler's not playing. Might as well take some long shots. That's interesting. Huh. Just looking at Grayson Sigg. He rates out really well for me this week. What the hell are his odds? Like 200-1?
Probably huge, but he's a Georgia boy.
175-1. I could get behind that.
Okay, well,
are you going to bet Cam Young at like 3-1 this week, like you do every week?
Okay, I bet him live at 70-1.
How'd that go?
God damn it! And then he hit it in the water. But then he made par. It was like, what an amazing! He literally had this amazing par. It was like a hit in the water off the tee from like 180 out to like 7 feet. Hits the putt. What a par! Professional par. What does he do on the next hole? On a par 3 putts from like 34 feet. So it's like, oh my God, I did it to myself. Pat, I could do anything. I could do one of these blue horseshoe lays minus 7,000 on some basketball game. I would get less vitriol in my Twitter anytime I mention I'm going to bet Cam Young. It used to happen with Fowler. Then it happened anytime I mention I'm betting Fleetwood. And there's nobody. I could make any card in the world. People wouldn't say boo. It has Cam Young on it. They come from everywhere to tell me how dumb I am.
Well, it's okay. Like, people have, I would usually tell you how dumb you are. I always have interest in Cam Young. I just don't like him at like 27-1. Although in this field, that's like more generous than we've been seeing. Like when you compare the quality of the field, some of the odds that he's been getting. And this feels like a very good Cam Young course. Like it's a difficult driving course. He should be very good at that. Some weeks he makes his putts. Other weeks he doesn't. If he can make them here, then yeah, I completely understand it. I'm not going to bet him. I'll miss out on the Cam Young win, but I feel like I've been saving money, not betting Cam Cam Young, and he's sort of that 40 or more territory for me. I'm comfortable with him at 40-1, 45-1, 50-1 a lot of the times. But I want it in a tournament like this. I don't want to go to a major and be like, oh, Cam Young, 45-1. It's like, all right, let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. He should be like 80-1 or 90-1 in this tournament. And it's going to be one of those things with him like it was with Finau. I think, Finau, it took him so long to break through. Victor was the same way. I mean, Scheffler was the same way. The guy didn't win for 2 years. And then when he won, he just started winning a bunch. It's hard to get that first win. And usually when you get the first win, the floodgates open. So when it happens for him, like bet him the next week too, because it feels like he'll try to keep that heater going for a long time. But I'll probably, unless the number is great, I'm probably going to miss out on that first one. So for me, everyone below 40-1 this week, it's just Harman. I'll bet Harman, and then I'll go way down the board.
Makes total sense. I don't have a bet inside 40 at the moment. I am staring. I thought maybe I'd see a 30 this morning on Cam Young with 27. Stop me if I really want to bet it. No, but to your point, Pat, and to the Masters stuff, he's 45-1 is the biggest number you can get on him in the Masters. Most books still have him 33, 35. Why is yesterday's price today's price? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And I'm not even going to do this like, well, he's 27 to win this week. He's 35 to win the because I like that Masters odd to even reference it is a bozo because we're going to get to Masters week. He will be 70-1 unless he comes home really strong. He went off the board at the Players at like 60-1, right? Or north of like it got pushed that high. But yeah, I don't know. Something flirting with a 30, I don't think is unfair. Back to the golfers this week. You did mention Keith Mitchell. Maybe that's where you start. I don't think that's a bad place. I've been staring at that a bit all morning.
Yeah, I like him enough, but like Keegan's the same price. This is the site of full Keegan being born when he was first round leader and then missed the cut at this tournament. He's not playing the greatest golf. He lost 7 strokes in 2 rounds on the greens last week. And I had pointed out to Paul, because Paul bets Keegan every single week. He did a very similar thing at Sentry earlier this year. He lost 5 strokes putting at the Sentry and then rebounded the next week at Sony and lost in the playoff. And he's had some good run here. He's sort of like the prototypical guy that you would want at this course. Like he drives it fairly straight. He's kind of like above average at everything, sort of like Paul Casey, right? And you just hope that the putter shows up that week and they can win. Like tee to green, they're all very good.
Yeah, they above average at everything. And that's like Xander's forte. So,
yeah. Like Xander should be really good at this course. But
yeah, and you ask why he's playing. Like he desperately needs to get the win monkey off his back. I'm not doing this to a bet Xander conversation, but like to why he's playing. If it was also on Cantley's schedule, it was clearly a decision they probably made together. Xander's in the form where I got to ride this form. I got to get a fucking win. Because I know am I forgetting a win for Xander? I know Colin won overseas in like Japan, but where was Xander's last win? Am I forgetting something, or it's really been insane?
The Olympics?
Yeah, that's the one that comes to my mind.
It can't be, because the Olympics are this year. His last one wasn't 4 years ago, was it? His last win was the Scottish Open in 2022. He won back-to-back. He basically won back-to-back weeks. He won the Travelers, and then he won the Scottish. Those are his last 2 wins.
Yeah, so he's almost on a 2-year win trip. That's crazy. For a guy that is always, I mean, whatever. You could debate, he gets beaten into the ground.
He does, but it's funny because when Byron came on the show and we talked about the most profitable golfers, the most profitable market, the 2 of them were Scotty Scheffler top 5 bets and Xander top 20 bets. Or Xander top 10 bets or something. Like he's there every single week. He just doesn't win.
That makes total sense. And you could even have gotten more greedy than the top 20s. It'd still probably have come home hella profitable.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm looking right now for this tournament. Yeah, 25-1. I'll bet Brian Harman 25-1. Don't love it, but might as well ride my guy. The fact that he didn't pull out of this tournament, he's on a heater right now. Like this has the potential for him to like miss the cut by 8 strokes or just keep it rolling. If he keeps it rolling, this is a great course for him. He's played really well here in the past too.
Yes, it should suit him in a way. Like he's clearly elevated of like the Hadwin tier but I'm not gonna lie. Like 2 years ago, he's like a Hadwin tier golfer, right?
Yeah. And even to look
Like
at
that skill set,
even to look at the rolling par 3 model as well. I said Sig was number 1, Herman's number 2. Like that kind of clinched it for me. And even to watch him on the longer par 3s yesterday and over the week at the Players, like he gets that hybrid in his hand and he just fucking attacks pins.
what is? Pardon my ignorance. I'm looking at the Classic on past results. What the hell is the Classic?
The Cognizant Classic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I opened up Minwoo, so second place, and I just
I don't know if you had tailed it at the time, but I did tweet it. I saw a lot of people actually did follow me on it. I bet Wyndham Clark to win the PGA Championship at 66-1 and the U.S. Open at 50-1 like 3 weeks ago. So I think that people tailed me on that.
good. As I meant, yeah. Better than the 50s available. Minwoo lost 4.5 strokes with approach last week off a couple great weeks.
Big fucking shocker he lost strokes on approach. Maybe the outlier was the week that he actually gained.
Yeah, on a deeper dive, that seems correct. Could be hard to trust. Rather be another loser.
Yeah, like you're looking for peak performance. So I suppose in a perfect world, he continues to drive like he does. He has his hot putting and chipping week, and he actually breaks even with the field on approach. Like I'm actually betting a guy who almost fits that exact same bill, but for double the price. Do you want to go to?
I know who it is.
Do you want to go to 50-1 and above, unless there's someone in the 40s that you like outside of Keith Mitchell?
Nope. We can move up.
All right, so 50 plus. I actually did bet a few of these guys at Open. I bet on Taylor Moore. I mean, Casey repeated, Burns repeated. Taylor Moore's playing like okay golf. He's 80-1, so I played him with a top 5. So I'm there. I bet Shank redemption week after he fucked himself last year, and he actually had a pretty nice Players Championship. The tee to green's been a little bit better. Like he hasn't been playing great golf by any means, but I also bet him at 80-1 with a top 5, and then Mav McNeely. 70-1 with top 5 placements. It's exactly the same formula as Minwoo. He drives the ball well. He putts the ball well. He's amazing around the greens. Dude can't hit a fucking iron to save his life. But maybe he can this week. He just needs to do okay doing that and do everything else like he normally does.
So I'm on 3 of those guys. I bet Shank.
I only said 3. So you're on all 3 of them.
No, because there was one of them.
Moore, Shank, and McNeely.
You said, oh, okay, sorry. I'm on 2 of those 3. Although maybe you could just, wouldn't take harder to talk me into more. Was on him last year, but I'm on Sepp, Mav, Shank, and I'm staring at Doug Gim.
I'm staring at Gim as well. I bet Straka at 65. No each way on him though. Just I wanted to boost up his 65, but I texted you this morning about Straka. It's nothing to do. Like Straka actually had a pretty good week at the Players tee to green. Couldn't make a putt, but to look at all these names that are ahead of Sepp, I get that like he goes on bad runs. But when we think about like guys who actually win, he's a guy who actually wins. And he's 60-1 in this tournament. Like Bo Hostler's fucking 40-1.
It's outright golf betting. Like you want a guy who can actually win, who's shown you an ability to the things he does poorly to spike and actually win the tournaments, or the things he does great at to like just be great at them. I make a lot of losing bets. If you finish in, I'm not playing each ways. If you finish in freaking 3rd place, it means as much to me on Monday morning as if you finished, missed the cut or finished 50th, other than the sweat, which I love the sweat. I do it for the sweat. I enjoy that responsibly. So yeah, I got no problem. We're talking about outright winners. If you don't think it's a safe, like top 5 pick or something, or could blow up in your face in DFS, those are different conversations.
So I just bet Harmon when we were talking at 25. What I'm going to do is cash that out if that number is still there on Wednesday and use my 30% boost that I get every week to get him up to like 33 or 35-1. But I'll be in at 25 either way. And if the number doesn't get crunched anymore, then I'll have my full cash out, then just reinvest that $100 onto 33-1 or something.
Like that there, they'll give you that full cash out and you can find it better. Also, respect to them. I don't know why other people because they'll let you bet a fair number on those 30% boosts. The other The other guys, our old friends, they let you get 3 points. They tell me I can only bet $10.
Yeah, no.
And maybe that's like a regional thing. Maybe that's a regional thing. Because I know other people that can get way more than $10 promotion for 3 points. But what an embarrassment. I don't even opt in out of principle. 3 points.
And this would be
$10.
Yeah, and this would be a 30% boost up. So what's that on?
Yeah, and they let you bet it. They let you. When my buddy gives me his, they let you bet those. Maybe if you actually win something, they'll stop me. But until I do, they let you bet them.
How do you feel about Max Gracerman? Any thoughts on him?
Okay. Did you see what fucking? I'm allowed to do this, people. I'm embarrassed. Okay, I'm embarrassed for us. Did you see that routine Ben Silverman put in?
Yeah, your neighbor. I'm surprised you weren't next to him.
Did you? What did you think? That was so cringe. Oh,
Hey,
a true pro is just gripping and ripping, bro.
After what I did on the research show this week, I am not one to talk about anything that's cringe ever again. So yeah, it was pretty cringe, but whatever. It was a fun, it gets him on PGA Tour social. It's something they can run in. They probably asked him to do it. They're like, hey, we need something for the morning when you come back and try to make this shot as a package that we can play in the lead up to it. So can you do something? Do this. There's probably a field producer standing there. You know how this shit works.
Okay, I hope so. You're right, baby. That's just so fucking. You're right. Okay, Gracerman.
Not
gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not betting him. I just thought it was interesting. Chan Kim continues to make cuts. Eric Barnes had that great run. And when I was watching the highlights from the past 3 years, he popped up once or twice. I was like, oh, yeah, that guy. Forgot about that guy. Novak Nation is back down to 140-1, coming off a bad week, but maybe we get back on Andrew Novak here. So the two bets I made from 100-1 and beyond. And I was on Straka with you as well. Matthew, the Knights Who Say Nee Smith, 150-1 with a top 5, and Grayson Sig, 175-1 with a top 5. It's one of those weeks, man. Just bet one guy at the top and then just take some lottery ticket scratches down the board.
How bad is Brendan Todd playing?
He was top 5 at API 2 weeks ago.
So isn't him at 80-1 on this just little accuracy place?
This is not an accuracy course. That's a misnomer. This is a long course, man. It's a par 71. It's 7,300 yards. Adjusted for par, it's actually one of the longer courses. And it's a less than driver course as well.
Yeah, so you gotta be a flusher, really, right?
You don't have to be a flusher, but it certainly goes a long way. Like Sam Burns is a flusher. Paul Casey is a flusher. Fucking Taylor Moore is a flusher.
Yeah.
Like if you're not going to be one of those guys, you need to be like Spieth and Spieth adjacent. You need to be full of magic beans and be able to scramble your ass off. Like I remember the year Charles won here. Like it was just magic around the greens, chipping in from fucking everywhere.
Because it's so narrow, right? So if you're off the fairway, then you're really not getting to the green, and yeah, then you gotta activate.
Like think about the year that Casey stole all of our Coke Rack money. Like Coke Rack finished he was second. DJ was in the top 5. Bubba was in the top 5. Rom was in the top 10. Like, yes, those are the best players in the field, and that played itself out. But those guys are definitely not short off the tee, and they're not accuracy mavens.
Okay, so when I kind of said accurate, it's more like because even the good players they don't full throttle off the tee, right? That was like the big thing here. So you got to be accurate off the tee to a certain extent.
But you need to be able to hit really long approaches. Like the proximity for this course, it's almost 50% come from beyond 175 yards. So you factor in
that's where your Neesmith bet comes from, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like the way that he played at the Players. He has a third place finish here as well as of 2 years ago. So hopefully he can putt a little bit this week. That would be nice. But yeah, he's just a very good iron player. And the year that Streelman won, he just got locked in and dialed in from like 175 out. Basically where Brian Harmon was dialed in from yesterday and over the weekend. Just 175 to 225. Dude was nails, putting everything to 15 feet, and then he started making the putts. That's why I like him again here. But just with Todd, yeah, he's going to keep himself in the fairway, but you'd want him at like Travelers where you can hit a bunch of wedges into the green, not one where he's going to have to hit fucking 4-iron in everywhere. At least in my mind. Maybe he fucking wins. I don't know. I lose enough that I don't know.
I'm not betting him. It just seemed maybe fits. Not for me. I'd rather bet Doug Gim. Like that's just who I am.
The Reaper. Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked his number isn't smaller.
At over 100-1, because you mentioned your bombs. Maybe I'm just getting like sucked in from the recent result and having bet him. I did bet Vic Perez, the whatever he just did, second place
In Puerto Rico.
off a nice little final. I don't know. You see, he's 110. I don't mind that. Your boy Kevin, you want to trust around this joint. Detry seems so lost, but this would have felt like a place for him and Penrith. But they're both just so
You
out of
nailed
sorts.
it, Paul. You're gonna end
Both
up
of them.
Yeah, no, you're gonna end up betting Detry. We know you are.
Yeah, maybe, but now he's like gotten ballooned again, right? Because there was a moment where he was coming down. So yeah, sure. And then like you want to get into super bomb territory because I just mentioned whatever happened in Puerto Rico. Buddy was all out of sorts. Apparently made a caddy change. You bet him in Puerto Rico. He had a fire run. Maybe could have won the thing. ADDC. It's like got a 300-1 here.
Do we just keep betting
Wanna
this
try
guy?
that again?
Yeah, why not? Let's go for
That
it.
one I don't.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the best players from 175 to 200 and 200 plus over the past 24 rounds. Mitchell and Xander and Thorbjorn, Valimaki and Finau and Shez, and then Novak are the best from 200 plus. And then 175 to 200, Cole, Cam Young, Vegas, Sig, Lipsky, Svensson, Carson Young. I would love to go back to Carson Young here, but legitimate, he's like old school Victor Hovland. I mean, he doesn't have quite the upside of Victor Hovland, but if he doesn't hit a green in regulation, it's bogey at best. He can't chip at all. But
How do you pronounce? I still haven't figured. How do you pronounce?
Ryu?
Yeah, how do you pronounce the last name?
I think it's Hisatune or Hisatune, I believe is how it's pronounced. That's my best guess at it. And I think I heard that. Eric Barnes' long irons are actually pretty good. Taylor Moore, currently inside the top 25 in both key proximity ranges, despite not having a great year right now. So is Carson Young, and so is Shez Reavie. Good Lord. And Bez. Bez is up there as well. Tim's one and done.
Short and long.
What are Matt Wallace's odds?
150, I think. I caught that earlier.
Yeah, Wallace. Maybe that's what I'll do. Like Harmon's my one guy. I'll have these like losers like Straka, Mav, and those at like 65 to 80, and then bet like 5 guys from beyond 100-1. And it's like actually less investment than I normally have in a golf tournament.
Oh, for sure. What about? Obviously, didn't talk about him, but I'm seeing Berger as high as 90.
Yeah, nah, not here for me. I don't think. But I just want to see him play a little bit better.
Where did everyone? Sorry,
Honda.
where did everyone bet Davis Thompson recently?
Amex probably.
It was more recent than that.
Oh, that I don't know. I was not a part of that.
And I interrupted you. I actually want your thoughts on Berger. I'm an idiot. Ask a guy a question. I just talk over him.
I just want to see him play a little bit better. I got a bit too excited coming back to Honda. It's like, oh, let's go with Daniel Berger. And he just, couldn't do it. Wasn't there for him. He's not all the way back yet. Soon, like I want to be there with him. Maybe post Masters is the time to really jump on Berger and just hopefully it kind of pans out for us.
Carson Young.
I just told you about Carson Young.
Yeah, I know. We might see a real big number this week.
It is. I guess it's 175. It's the same range as like Novak and Sig and those guys.
It was 100-1. I don't know if we spoke about him other than the water ball or the birdies, but Sam Ryder, the number seems high. I think that's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, I'm good with not playing Sam Ryder, I think. I mean, I've been around the guys that I like right now, so I'll probably stick with them. Bud Cauley was a look for me, but I think I might just try to ride him in Texas the next 2 weeks. Hopefully he has a bad week this week. Block that out of my mind and get him in Texas. Because I think that he's looked good in both of his starts so far, coming back from 3 years off. That he's a Texas guy. Maybe get him in Texas. That's the move.
And I guess before we're done, we didn't talk about him at all. Eric Cole at 40.
Pass.
We'll see where all the the Coleaholics are. And Florida started with such promise.
That's one of the. Have you used the new filter on Fantasy National? The Florida filter, or whatever state that you want to go to filter?
Yeah, it tells you bet Shane Lowry.
No, he's not in the field this week. I don't know whether we don't have a Singapore filter, unfortunately. So if we look back past 24 rounds in Florida, the average, strokes gained total, Berger, Montgomery, Flea Market, coming off a pretty good week. JT, Xander, Justin Suh, Ryan Fox, Ben Griffin, Dylon Wu, who had a pretty good week, Sungjae, Davis Riley, Spieth, Keegan, Harmon, Burns, your best Florida players over their past 24 rounds. This is it for Florida, too. We say bye-bye to Florida for another year. I guess Doral.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. we'll get Doral. Always enjoy it. I don't know. Got all angry. I was one of those angry people that Honda wasn't playing hard enough, but by the weekend it was.
Well, let's get to the quick picks. I have a ton in already. I didn't think that I would, but still for it's like half the money I usually invest in a tournament. So Harmon at 25 to 1 is going to be my lead play. After that, I got Straka at 65, McNeely at 70 with the top 5 each way, Taylor Moore and Shank both at 80 with the top 5 each way. So those are the ones from below 100 to 1. From beyond 100 to 1, we'll go Neesmith 150, Novak 150, Sig 175, Adrian Dumont de Charret at 300 to 1. Why not, right? With the top 5 with him. And then Matt Wallace at 125 with 5 places as well. So just, if 2 of these guys can come inside the top 5, it's a huge winning week. If one of them wins, and we're dancing.
So for me, I have bet Mav, I have bet Sep, and I have bet Shank. Looking at other duds in that range, be it Doug Gim, yeah, if I go low, I don't know. I'm going to have a mental war with Cam Young, Keith Mitchell, which I'm seeing maybe a 50 over at Phillip Rivers. That seems enticing. Yeah, that's where my head is at. Blurred.
Well, I have the lead in the one and done after I took Scotty Scheffler for $4.7 million to open up an almost $6 million lead in the one and done. I will take Brian Harmon.
Big Sam Burns.
Do you have Sam Burns available? You do have Sam Burns available. So you'll take Sam Burns. And Cuss has taken Christian Bezadenhout as his one and done. It's been a real rough go for Cuss here after jumping out to a lead with a T6 with Spieth and Phoenix. It's been all backwards for him after that.
I don't really understand. And I guess we'll be live debating on Thursday, which I could be set. I could be walking into a trap. Not like by you, Pat, but just, debating is his forte. When I get emotional, I think he's a calm level dude. Even with the biggest arrows you toss at him, he doesn't really overreact. And I overreact to small things. So I feel like I could be walking into a hornet's nest. Other than that, I still don't really understand his whole live shtick.
I don't get it either. And he was actively fighting with one of our other friends about it yesterday too. And the funny thing is, I know for a fact he doesn't even watch it.
He doesn't care. And then okay, I believe, unless you guys have been tricking me for a decade, that it's a shtick, it's real. I've met Tim, I've hung with Tim, it's real. It's so real, but this live thing to me is the only thing of all the crazy things he said where I'm I think it's shtick. He's put, I'm a high Flyers fan in his Twitter bio. Even the littlest things, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care if the high Flyers finish in last place. He doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if they finish in first place. He doesn't care. So I don't understand what his thing is there. Other than to maybe troll your golf fans. I don't know.
Yeah, but why? Like, but why is he trolling? Like, and this is the same guy that when Liv was created, he walked the course with me and our other buddy Tim, who he was yelling at yesterday about Liv, and scalded us for 4 straight hours about how you can't like this. The Saudis are involved. How dare you? Like, he was mad that we were like, yeah, like, fuck, I'll watch Liv, like whatever. Like, because that was always sort of like mine and yours, and like, yeah, we were mad that it was fracturing the tour and it would lead to less competitive golf on a weekly basis. But it wasn't like, well, we never had the stance, I'll never watch Liv because da 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 da. It's like, no, like if it's good golf, I'll watch it, and I have watched it. I actually kind of enjoy Liv, not to the extent that I enjoy the PGA Tour, but it's like how I watch the European Tour. Like, hey, if it's on, I like golf, I'll watch it. But like, just his weird, like, I don't get it at all. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and then he glad hands so many things that you know at his core, like he must detest, be it the music or a shotgun start. Now, not like I'm strictly speaking of Tim. You could debate those things in general, and you can make the jokes. And like Terrell Hatton says, like he's gonna lose, like there's no dock rock allowed at his home anymore because that's like the only shit they play when he's golfing. Yeah, but as for Tim, I don't know. That's the one place. And even this weekend, he's like being very condescending, right, with his like comments about the events and like even called it boring because Scheffler's winning. But it's like passive aggressive, like to golf fans. I don't know. I don't know. Didn't mean to end it here. We'll debate on Tuesday. I don't know, Thursday. I don't want to debate him about Liv. I just don't understand that angle with his presence.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But yeah, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Mayo Media Network live. If you have a question for Geoff or Tim, hit the description. There is a link where you can submit a 20-second video. We've already got some really good ones in so far, so hopefully we can get a few more for the live debate. We might even have people in studio heckling Tim in the background, so that's an advantage for you, Geoff.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm hoping I can. Tim talks about Post-it notes. Like, I'm going to have a couple up. I think I'm going to have a couple up for myself. Like, just,
Don't be crazy.
Hold it together. Because, okay, I'm ready. Live. I was nervous about that, but
yeah,
we're good.
We got to do it live or we're not doing it.
Yeah, no, I like, sorry, not nervous. I was like wondering, is this live? Is this not going to be live? But yeah, no, that makes total sense. I'm here for the chaos it ensues.
Yeah, Underdog Fantasy, code Mayo. Hit the link in the description to get into it. The Pat Mayo Experience Open for Thursday at the Valspar will be up in the Underdog lobby as soon as I believe the tee times are announced for the week, and then I'll hop in and I'll tweet it out, and we can start doing some drafts together. Right now, I believe it's a $5 entry, so we need to fill this up. We need to fill it up as quickly as possible. Then they'll make it not $5. They'll make it $15 or something like that, increase the prize pools, reduce the rake, so we can almost get a rake-free contest on the go and chop into the $10 Albatross where there's $50K to first place over at Underdog right now for a major season draft. As Geoff can attest, it's a ton of fun to do, and you get a first-time deposit match of up to $100 with code Mayo, so please go do that now. Smash the like while you're here. Sub to Mayo Media Network. Check out the bracket show from the week with Gabe and Raza as well. That went up live on Sunday evening. We've been good 2 of the past 3 years, so hopefully we can get it done again this time around. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!